Radha, thank you so much for being here. We're so excited to have you here. Coming to us from Lapland, of all places. How amazing.
Thank you so much for having me. Super excited for us to chat and catch up and share.
Yeah, so amazing. So, Radha, we've just been having a chat earlier on, and we've been talking about the topic you're going to help us with today, or uncover a little bit more about, which is daily design. And I know you're so passionate about it, and you're giving talks about it and things like that. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about why that could be so important, and what exactly it is, or what exactly you do?
Okay, so I think the reason I find daily design such an interesting, fascinating, and powerful topic is because a lot of times we go to these great seminars and workshops and retreats, and we come away being really pumped and really like, wow, that was such a great experience. But then the reality of actually taking some of those little gems and integrating them into a really basic day, a 24-hour period, is where people tend to really trip up, because as soon as you get home, the to-do lists come in, the kids are there, the dog needs to be taken for a walk, the fridge needs cleaning, all of these really fun things get in the way of us actually taking all of that lovely motivation and making it practical. So for me, I always like to start with people and just start on the simplest, most basic level, and daily design is where it's at. That's for me personally. And I come from a total point of being a human guinea pig, and I have experimented with all the different ingredients, things you can add to a day, things that maybe didn't work for me. I've had experience of doing way too much and trying to do like an hour and a half of yoga in the morning and meditating and having the smoothie and going for a run and realizing, okay, it's probably not achievable, or I'm going to have to quit my job. And I've just tried to use all the little techniques and actually see which are the ones that have the most impact for me in the shortest space of time. And that is, I think, the key thing with daily design. You want to look at small, actionable, simple things that you can add to your day that give you the greatest impact and that work for you. And that's why whenever I'm sharing anything about these are my top tips for this, they're my top tips. They may not necessarily all be right for you, but the only way you find out is actually by trying them. So no matter how skeptical you are or enthusiastic, try them, experiment with them, and with any of the little secrets that people share with you when you're out and about, when you go to these conferences, when you go to these seminars, pick and choose the things that really work for you and make your life an experiment where you're not afraid to try something that you think sounds either way too simple, sounds really stupid, or just sounds totally irrelevant to you. You don't know until you try. And I always think you just have to have a bit of faith with these things, but also then be willing to say, it doesn't work for me. They may say it's the best thing since sliced bread, but actually it's not my cup of tea. So having a bit of a discerning, questioning, but also willing nature really helps with any of this.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. I think, yeah, you totally covered it when you said that it has to be unique to us. It's really fundamental that because there is so much information out there, and we can have that desire to do it, all of it. Like you said, like take an hour and a half, and while that's beautiful and lovely, it may not fit in with kids and pets and animals and a job and life. So finding that fantastic. So how would one go about that? I could imagine people curious to understand either maybe an example of what you do, perhaps in the morning, or how you design a day as a practice, and how could somebody start or begin that?
I think the key thing is really giving yourself, even if it's just an hour, and this doesn't have to be every week, but I'm just saying 1 hour on just as you start, to actually do a proper assessment of your day. And this involves a pen and paper. Try to avoid your laptop and your phones and just actually get a real pen and paper and sit down and write out what a normal day is for you, and really assess how much time you're giving to certain things in your day. And I think it's so important to always start from this place of assessment, because very often we try and add a lot of things into our life without creating any space first. So I always find it really nice sometimes just to have a look, really examine the current structure, and almost give yourself a rating of how you feel your days are going so far. How do you feel in terms of your health at the end of the day? How do you feel in terms of the relationships that you've got with your family? How do you feel in terms of your satisfaction at your job? How do you feel in terms of the time you've got for your spirituality? And give yourself a rating, because without measuring the success of an experiment, you'll never know if it's been good or bad. And it's really good to have measurable parameters that you can actually look at and say, this is me at day dot, and this is me 3 months on. Because if it's not working and you're not seeing any improvement, it's a waste of your time. And you really have to keep an eye on this and check in with yourself. So you don't need to give an hour every week, but I encourage you to take an hour at least, or a little bit less if you don't have all that time, and sit down and really look at your daily design. Give yourself an assessment rating and say, okay, this is where I'm at right now. And then the really important bit, this is where I want to be. So take a little bit of time, even if it's 3 minutes, and take yourself through a visualization. This might not work for you. I'm totally a visual person and I love creating an image in my mind. It might be for you that you just put pen to paper and write it out. Use what works for you. But for me, I always like, before I set a goal, to really close my eyes and visualize where I'll be at the end point.
Yes.
Where I'll be when I've reached that point of feeling I'm at, 8, 9, possibly 10 out of 10 on those areas. And I did this last night. I wrote down, I write my own questions sometimes and then write my own answer, maybe at a different time, but I wrote down and thought, okay, what's my perfect day? Where do I wake up? How do I feel when I wake up? What do I eat for breakfast? What kind of room do I wake up in? Who's there when I'm going to work? How do I get to work? How do I feel at work? Be meticulous. Go into the little silly details. How do I do my hair that day? How does my skin look? How happy am I? How energetic am I? How many people do I help on my way to work? Do I buy a sandwich for the homeless person that lives outside that always smiles? Do I go to work and actually ask the receptionist how they're doing and genuinely want to know the answer, not just rush by because you've got too much to do? Do I maybe put my headphones in and listen to a motivational talk on the tube on the way to work? Or maybe do I take my headphones out and ask someone next to me how they're doing? Have a real look at where you want to be and where you want to end up, because there's so many different things you'll hear. There's so many tools and tips that you'll learn, and you probably already know a gazillion and more tips of how to achieve success, but you need to know where you want to end up. So first thing, assess. Second thing, direct. You really want to know which direction you're going in. Then the next part. So what tools and tricks can you add to your day? And I will, like you said, speak from personal experience here as to what ingredients I find are key. And these vary. I have a few that I find are universal throughout wherever I am, like I'm currently in Lapland at the moment. And there's a few universal things that I still even keep to when I'm here. And there's some things that I only have time for when I'm at home. But there should be a few ingredients that you feel you really don't want to let more than a few days go by without you doing. So for me, it's first thing in the morning, I have a glass of water, hot water or cold water. And if you know anything about Ayurveda and about nutrition, and even biologically, having water to hydrate after a night's sleep is so important. One of those things that you'll say sounds really stupidly easy, but is really powerful, and you will notice an increase in your energy. By all means, be the human guinea pig, see if it works for you. But I always grab that first thing. The next thing is that I light a flame and I set my intention for the day. I give gratitude for everything that's been before, and I even say out loud what I want to happen today. I'll ask for miracles, I'll ask for magic, I'll ask for fun, I'll ask for motivation, and I'll ask for how I want to go to sleep that night, feeling totally inspired and empowered. Then a cup of coffee. So that's an optional. I'm not encouraging anyone to take up a coffee habit if it doesn't exist, but for me, it's really important. So I have a cup of coffee, and then the first thing I try and do, especially while I've been here, when I'm back at home as much as I can, work out. Half an hour in the morning, do some movement. Whether this is 15 minutes of yoga, 10 minutes of just doing jumping jacks in your bedroom, just try and move first thing. There is so much evidence behind the impact of exercise on your mental health, your physical health, the way that it can help you just go into the day with a much more positive mindset. And it's one of the ingredients that I believe is absolutely key in life for success, for happiness, for longevity, pretty much for everything. It is the magic bullet. It's incredible. So just move. When I'm at home, when it's a little bit warmer than here because it's snowing a lot, normally I grab my running shoes and I'll go out for a run in the morning. If I'm somewhere there's a gym, I might go to the gym. And I'm not telling you I do this every day because that would be a lie, but I try and make it the norm that that's what I do. So that the unusual is that I might have a rest day because I feel like my body just really wants to rest today, and I might just go for a walk or something later. Or I might just chill and have a pizza because it's one of those days where I really need a pizza. But if you can, try and make exercise the norm to start your day. If you've got a family and you've got a lot to do, just make it 10 minutes, literally 7 minutes, 4 minutes, whatever it is, get into the habit. And then the more you do it, you will literally create a positive relationship with creating that habit. And it's one of those things, you get the endorphin hit, you get the addiction, and you just want to keep going. And it will snowball into having something that you look forward to. Oh, yes, I get to work out, or I get to do my yoga, or I get to do my jumping jacks. And it's a good time to do it before the whole world just falls on top of you with all of the things that they want from you. Take this time to really to work on you so that you can go out there and be the best, strongest, happiest version of yourself. So the next ingredient that I think is really key is what you eat for breakfast. And I don't believe in the breakfast is essential, that you have to eat it every day, but you need to make sure whatever you put in your body in those early hours is really going to help you. So whether it's just some barley grass and some apple juice, or whether it's porridge oats with some really nice toppings and some really nice nuts, it might just be that you're just a coffee drinker in the morning, but just make sure whenever you do get to your first meal, try and give yourself the right nutrition and the right things first time in the day. Because as we get later on at your lunchtime, at that 3 o'clock energy low, we will reach for the trashy foods, we might reach for the sugary foods. But if you can get your brain and your body into the habit of having something really healthy first thing, then if we come to the point where we're feeling a little bit weaker later in the afternoon, it's not so bad because at least we've got some of the nutrition in as early as possible. And hopefully if you have something that is a slow releasing energy source and something that's going to really keep you vital, you shouldn't get such a dip later on in the day. So that's sort of a little summary of some of the little ingredients that I find really important. Those are my personal favorites. And I'm not saying you have to follow them by the book, but I can pretty much guarantee I don't think there's anyone out there that they won't help. Because I do feel from everything that I've seen, all the people that I've, watched and learned from, helped and felt really inspired by, these are the common threads. And I implore you to give them a go and see how you feel, but do it in your own way.
Yeah, I love that, Radha. Thank you so much. That's so fantastic. And you speak with such passion that it's impossible not to want to give it a go. even just listening, I just think, so everyone out there, give it a go. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I found definitely in my own life, like learning that just getting the body moving and having that time for myself and hydrating the body, those sorts of things, they were what became just non-negotiables. They had to be done, even if it was, like you said, 5-10 minutes. And they have become such a part of my day that it's just that beautiful moment in the morning when you can really create that time for yourself. And I know that that's what, if anyone's looking for something like that, like how to structure your day, where to start, that's definitely the place to start, is just creating that little moment in the morning where you can have that morning practice time. And so from the people that I'm really interested to find out, from the people that you've helped and maybe through your own experience too, what do you find are some of the struggles or some of the hardest things to really design our day or design a morning like that, that could empower us or that could take us forward in such a great way?
I think it's a really great question, because a lot of the times we need to really question what's stopping us from doing this already, because I'm pretty sure you know most of this already. Everyone watching this knows all of this already. We know what's healthy. We know we should exercise. We know we should have breakfast. We know what healthy foods are. So why aren't we doing it? And it's a really really good part of that planning and the preparation, that hour hopefully that you're going to give later today, that you examine the boundaries, the roadblocks. What's stopping you from getting in there at the moment? For the majority of people, it will be time. I think time is one of those things we feel we just don't have enough of. All the time we feel we don't have time. And this wasn't really relevant to me until I started working as a pharmacist, and I started doing, 10, 12-hour shifts and thinking, oh my God, you get home and you don't want to sit and meditate for a half hour. You don't even want to meditate at all because you just fall asleep because you're exhausted. And you don't want to go back and, read a really inspirational book, or maybe do some great yoga stretches to empower your energy. You just want to go to sleep. And it gets to that point where I was like, oh my God, I used to be, when I was a student, all this time and all this, I can do this for an hour. I can go do my workout, cook this amazing meal afterwards, feel really healthy. Then I've got my time to meditate before I go to sleep. Then you start working, you're like, yeah, that ain't happening. So I think time is probably one of the key things I've seen people struggle with. And when it comes to that, I always say the easiest way to overcome the challenge of time is to make it really achievable. Start small and build slowly. Do not expect yourself to change your entire life structure and your entire day overnight, because you might manage for a few days, maybe even for a week, but eventually people tend to falter because it's such a change that you don't really enjoy it, because your body's in a bit of shock from all of the change, and the environment hasn't sort of melded in to work with us. So you need to work step by step in a really enjoyable pace to make things work. And I did a bit of research on change and creating new habits and why people don't create new habits. And there's this amazing influence curve that you see, and it's about the time period that you give yourself to achieve something and how quickly you can actually achieve it. And it shows that if we try and make too many changes too quickly, we are statistically more likely to fail eventually. So for me, I always think, make it really small. Everyone kind of likes the hype of doing the overnight, change the diet, throw out the cookies. But really, we just end up really testing our self-control a little bit too much. And you've got to be kind to yourself and realize that if you want to make a life change, not just have a fad diet or go on a quick detox, then you really need to start small and build. And the biggest thing you're building is your belief in yourself that you can make those changes. Because when you try something and fail, don't believe in failure, but when you perceive to have failed time and time again, your self-confidence will be knocked. And you don't want to get to a point where you think, what's the point? I can't do it. So start small. My key thing that I learned when I was going to work is I now meditate on my lunch break. And my bare minimum non-negotiable is 1 minute. If I'm crazy busy, I barely have time for a break, barely have time to breathe at work, I will go and sit in the staff room for 1 minute, and I have a really nice app that I listen to, and it has the sound of nature and calm, and it's really lovely. And just for 1 minute, I meditate. Most days on lunch, I'll manage 10, and that's a nice amount, and I go back to work feeling so much better. But what's important is to try and keep it up, even if it's for 1 minute. And there's been days where I'm like 10 minutes, and there's one day, can't do 10, do the 1, because it keeps you on that uphill. Even if you don't feel like you're doing much, you're keeping that momentum going. So the key is, even if you can't keep it perfect every day, you can't hit quite the level that you're wanting to, don't stop. Do the imperfect version, do the short version, do the express version. And that's why when I designed a lot of my workouts with Toga, I did ones that were 10 minutes, because I know I would love to do an hour's workout every day, but it's not realistic. So if I can give someone 10 minutes of exercise that makes them feel like, yes, I've done my workout, it flips that switch in the brain of thinking that you're still going, and that no matter what, you just keep chipping away. And eventually it gains enough momentum that it's no longer you trying to create a habit, it's just you living your life. And like you said, with you have these non-negotiables in the morning now. You don't have to make an effort to get up and meditate. You don't have to make an effort to get your water or move, because that's just me. It's what I do.
Yeah.
And that's we're aiming to create. We're aiming to subconsciously rewire our brains and create new neural pathways in our brain, slowly just chipping away and creating that self-belief, creating that energy, and transforming your life in a way that is so subtle and beautiful that hopefully in a few years when you look back, you'll think, how on earth did I get here? This is incredible. Like, I'm this amazing, healthy person. I've somehow managed to get out for a 3-hour walk this weekend, spending time with my family more. I feel more calm inside myself. My skin's better quality because I'm drinking more water. God, I even feel like I'm stronger because of those little mini workouts that I did in the morning. And you'll not even realize that you haven't had to make this big overnight change. You haven't had to make this drastic, rip your life apart and put the pieces together in a better order. You just twinged and tweaked every single day. And I think that's the secret to sort of the science of life for me. And I think it's the way that people can really enjoy the process.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's absolutely beautiful, Radha. I love the idea of it just being, and you know, just creating a little good habit each time, and just creating a little step each time. Not, you know, trying to. I feel like a lot of people today, certainly a lot of people that I talk to, have these grand plans and really, really, really want to do their best at them, but just even then looking at what they've planned stresses them out. and then they're not achieving that, like you said, they're not achieving it, has a go at their you know, because it feels like it's a self problem that I am not good at doing it, and I'm not good at blocking my day, and I'm not good at doing my exercise, and that then becomes a lot harder on yourself. So I know you've especially spoken to this after your work session and helping other people through your website, and created smaller videos of breakdown that are keeping people healthy and well, and things like that, in an easygoing way, in shorter amounts of time. So do you want to tell us a little bit about those videos and what you aim to do with those videos?
Totally, yeah. So Toga, which is toning yoga, it's where it originated from, was my brainchild of everything that I love and everything that I wanted to share with the world, because I've been really fortunate to be trained and learn from some really exceptional people. And for me, it's about, I'm not reinventing the wheel. I haven't come up with any of these incredible mind-blowing ideas on my own. I've just looked at people that are succeeding at life and self-experimented and found my own ways of interpreting their formula in a way that works for me personally. So all I wanted was a platform on which to share everything I've been fortunate enough to learn. And I think that's with any of the great teachers out there and the great leaders and the great speakers. It's not necessarily their knowledge. They have just opened themselves up to communicating it in a way that people can understand. And I think that is a skill, because the knowledge is out there, the data is out there. It's about finding a way to communicate it that is practical, that is inspirational, and that is clear. So for me, that's why I created Toga. And I've just been, I don't know when this will go out, but I have just come back from Portugal, where we were filming a new series for my Toga Life section, which is about daily design. And I've got videos on morning design, evening design, achieving your goals, creating a master action plan. And
Fantastic.
I've tried to make the videos, tried to make them all less than about 15 minutes, because I know that people feel like there's this pressure that they don't want to waste too much time. And I don't want to waste people's time. I want to try and give as much of the good stuff that I've learned in as short a time as possible, but with really practical action steps. So I'm super excited for them videos to be going out. And I'm also, I think, even more excited about getting feedback. And I'm excited to hear about people's discoveries of how they might have interpreted what I've said and made it totally their own, and learning more from them, because I'm like, oh my God, I never even thought about that perspective. That's incredible. Like, that's brilliant. I'm going to try that. And that's what I want people to do. I want people to just be inspired to start, and whatever way that is for them. And with workouts and with health and fitness and nutrition, I feel so passionately about this. And working in a healthcare environment every day, where I see people's lives absolutely controlled by illness, I want to give people the control back into their hands, because medical knowledge and knowing about drugs and illness and disease, it can be really confusing, especially with the internet and Dr. Google and all of this data out there shouting at us that if you get like a freckle on your hand, you're going to die tomorrow. Like, there's just so much fake news out there, and helping people to dissect it in a way that's really empowering and saying, okay, you don't have to eat 17,000 superfoods every day and spend about £700 a week on all of these special health foods. How can you do it for £10 in the supermarket and still feel amazing? And how can you do things for free in your own home? And how can you do a simple exercise program that will make you feel really strong and make you look in the mirror and say, God, I look good. But then also you close your eyes and say, God, I feel good as well. This is amazing. I feel at peace with myself. And it's the integration between mind and body. And that's what I hope to do with my programs. And I'm always learning as well. What I know now, it might change in 10 years. So many of the scientific breakthroughs are happening day by day. And I want to keep sharing those as I discover them. And the truths that I hold completely to my heart now and know are 100% how I live, they might change. And that's really important too. The world is changing so rapidly and we learn so much that you have to be open to creating these amazing new habits and taking up these amazing new programs and learning to eat in a certain way. And then in 10 years, if it changes, be okay with that. Be okay with being a constant student. You will never get it all right. You'll never find the one thing that you will keep with for the rest of your life. And the way that you learn to eat today, the way that you learn to breathe today, that won't work for you in 20 years. And that's great, because it means that you never stop learning. You never stop developing yourself. And it's falling in love with being a constant student. And that's why I love what I've created with TOGA, because it makes me keep studying. Because it makes me want to learn more and dissect it and pull it apart so that I can share it with people. And whatever that is for you, whether it's reading a certain book, whether it's being dedicated to watching a video like these amazing videos you're creating, and listening to people and being open to new knowledge that you might never have heard of, and being open to some wacky, crazy concept about adding some weird herb to your food and suddenly it will improve the way that you hear. Like, just go with it, be trusting, have a little faith, but listen to the right people. And again, just be really open to knowing that people don't have it all figured out. I'm learning, you're learning, and every single human being on the planet is still learning. There is no 100% right and wrong way. There's your way of doing it. Learn, soak it in, adapt, assess how it works for you, and then just keep going. Keep this cycle going. It's a never-ending cycle. I'm sorry there's no magic formula that will work for life and you're going to be rich, thin and happy forever, but that's not life. That's not what makes it interesting. What's interesting is learning and new challenges and trying to figure out how to do yoga with the dog running around your legs. It's great. You get a whole new form of yoga. It's brilliant. So yeah, I think that's what I love about TOGA. And that's what I hope to share more on my website and through the talks that I'll be doing and through speaking more around the world and living my passion, but really trying to help as many people as I can.
Fantastic. So people can reach out. I know they can find you. If you want to just tell us the website, the exact website, and then obviously we'll put up links below. So what's that? So
my website at the moment is TOGA Online, which is TOGA, Toning Yoga. togaonline.co.uk, and I also, it's the same hashtag, it's the same handle for Instagram, for Twitter. I'm more of an Instagrammer, I will say. I don't really understand Twitter. I like pictures, but also on Facebook it's TOGA Online, and all of the latest updates when I have new videos coming out, when I have new programs coming out, which events I'll be speaking at, which events I'm teaching at, and basically me, what I'm getting up to, and all the things that I'm discovering along the way, they will be posted there. So please do get in touch. And I love hearing questions from people. Like if there's a certain topic you want me to write a blog about, or if there's, a certain, claim you've heard recently and you think, is that really true? And you want to ask. Not saying I'll know the answer, but I love learning. So I love people asking questions and getting in touch with stories. So please do.
Yay! Thank you so much, Radha. That was awesome. I've actually stopped the timer, and I know that we could speak for a long, long time together, but that's absolutely brilliant. I really feel like people can get so much out of learning to design their day. And so if you want to know more about that, please reach out to Radha again. And like she said, ask any questions, but just reach out with, even with challenges that you're facing with creating your day, or learning, if you want to learn how to do that a little bit more and insert it into your day more. You're speaking to someone who will be very, very, very great at it. So thank you so much, Radha, and hopefully talking to you soon. Yay! See
Have
you
an
in
amazing day.
Bye.